Ladies and gentlemen, I have terrible news. For the Democrats, Karine JeanPierre has left the Democratic Party. Their brand is trash. They've got nothing left. Their media apparatus is weakened with no ratings, and it's become a desperate-ish show. I'll try to keep it family-friendly here on our news program. Now, Karine JeanPierre, of course, was Joe Biden's press secretary, and she's getting absolutely annihilated by the frail ramblings of what is left of the Democratic media machine. We talked about it a bit last night in reviewing some of these liberal YouTubers, where the only thing they have left, what they do is they'll take a screenshot of Trump doing anything, and it's not even news anymore. They'll just write, Trump appears unhinged on TV. And it's like, you're not telling anybody anything. It's just rage bait for Trump-obsessed 70-year-olds. Or whatever. Maybe on YouTube they're hitting the key demo. And I thought about it for a while. I just thought, there's no more opposition for the most part. Trump's approval rating is fantastic. Despite the fact the polls make literally no sense, if we want to just say, let's look at the aggregate, Trump's 50-50 within the margin of error. He's done a little bit. I'll give him that, right? It's like -2, but that's margin of error. It's better than Obama and Bush in their second term. His popularity is rising. Support on his economic initiatives is increasing. So he's got tremendous support on immigration, and Democrats continue dropping. People don't think the Democrats have strong leadership. They don't think they can get anything done, and more prominent individuals are quitting the party. Those that are trying to stand up to be leaders are still deeply unpopular, and there's no unity among this faction of people. Centrist moderate types in the Democratic Party think they hold the key. But the problem is the true centrists of the Democratic Party have left. People like me. And you know, the best way to break down their sheer and utter desperation with a little bit of ego on top is, hey, The Daily Show talked about me last night. Why? Am I really that important? Yo, I got to be honest. I know I got a big show. I know that Timcast IRL does really well at night. Like, we have tremendous ratings. We are smoking the competition. I just don't actually ever feel that important to get my own dedicated hit piece from The Daily Show, which used clips from 10 years ago, completely out of context, mind you, and points where I was correct, they claimed I was not correct. I just got to say, I think I know why they're doing it. This is the last-ditch effort of a desperate Democratic Party. Let me put it this way. I'm sitting here, as my social team sends me this Daily Show hit piece on me, having to do, starting off with me being at the White House, which was like a month and a half or longer? That was a while ago. And I'm like, why are they talking about me? Slow news day, I guess. Oh, that must be it. So here's the thing. I'm a liberal. This show is liberal. It's a fact. The left is going to call it far right and conservative. They're going to claim that I'm a far right podcaster. None of that is true. The guy, Klepper, even says that I dress like I'm from Hot Topic. Doesn't sound very conservative, if you ask me. No, the reality is Tim Pool's an urban liberal guy who left the Democratic Party and the liberal side because these people are crackpot cultist lunatics. But what happens when I start convincing people maybe Trump ain't all that bad? Karine JeanPierre just quit the party. And you know what I'll take credit for? For all the people who say, I didn't know what to believe. I started watching your show, Tim, and now I'm kind of middle of the road. Some people have said, now I'm diehard MAGA. And I always tell people, like, hey, man, I'm not telling you to be diehard MAGA or nothing like this. I'm just trying to break down what's going on to the best of my abilities. Boy, do they not like it. But what fear do I of a dying media apparatus? They can lie all they want. It just proves my point right here. Those who are apostates to the Democrat machine must be stopped. And I always did find it kind of funny. They didn't seem to pay attention to me, even though I was getting tremendous play because they're late to the party. In 2020, this is kind of crazy to say, but my YouTube was the biggest non-liberal, I don't want to say conservative, but anti-Democrat, anti-establishment channel. So there were some people that were losing their minds over this. They were like, I think my YouTube channel was getting something like 120 million views per month. Yeah, we're doing like 40 something now. I mean, like I have 3 channels. I'm doing like 45. Actually, maybe it's like 50 to 60 right now. It's like a political off season, but it was way bigger than most. They never said anything about it. And then they lost. Now they're salty. But here's the reality. They don't have answers. Their popularity sucks. I'm not wrong. And their desperation, all it does is make it worse for them. So I'm going to give them a free lesson for people like The Daily Show, who get no viewers, by the way. And they're just talking about me like everybody does because Tim Pool as a hashtag apparently generates a lot of clicks. We'll start with where the Democratic Party is, why people love Donald Trump. And then we'll be joined by Rich Lowry from, I believe, the National Review, if I have this correct. Let me make sure I'm not flubbing that. Have this correct? Yes, the editor-in-chief of the National Review, very excited to talk about where Trump currently is and a lot about this coalition between the liberals and conservatives and where we go from here. With the Democrats ripping Karine JeanPierre to shreds, her trying to leave the party, it's clear. You don't want Democrat attached to your name. It's unpopular. But before we get started, my friends, I want to give a shout out to AmericanFinancing.net/Tim. Check out AmericanFinancing.net/Tim, my friends. Listen, debt doesn't just show up one day, it builds. Little by little. Credit cards, car loans, medical bills, and suddenly you're juggling payments and feeling stuck. But here's the good news. You're not stuck. You just need a reset. At American Financing, they help homeowners like you every day. They use your home's equity and roll that high-interest debt into one simple, affordable payment. They're saving homeowners an average of $800 per month. No judgment, no pressure, just real solutions that put you back in control. Imagine breathing again, sleeping again, knowing your future is yours to shape. Starts with one call, takes only 10 minutes to get started, and there are no upfront fees. So it costs nothing to find out how much you can save. And if you start today, you may be able to delay your next 2 mortgage payments. American Financing salary-based consultants are ready to listen and ready to help. Take back your peace of mind with American Financing. Call American Financing today at 866-890-7811. That's 866-890-7811. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Tim. Shout out. Thanks for sponsoring the show. CastBrew.com. Head over to castbrew.com and pick up some Cast Brew coffee. Use promo code RUMBLE10 if you'd like to get some delicious coffee. We got Ian's Graphene Dream back in stock. Appalachian Nights, everybody's favorite. And we got coffee pods, too. If you want to support the work that we do, we sell coffee. And we're opening physical coffee shops. It's a big undertaking. We've got a lot of franchises and franchise opportunities, but that stuff has been moving. Deals are being dealt. I got to be careful about what I can announce because there's a lot of contract stuff in there, but it's looking pretty good. Stay tuned for the next couple of months. Maybe some big news there. Don't forget to smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know, my friends. Take the URL right now to this live stream and post it across X, Facebook, wherever you can. Although the algorithmic machine certainly is against us, it helps quite a bit. Let's jump into the story from ABC News and get into the crux of what it really means that Karine JeanPierre has left the Democratic Party. With ABC News reporting, former White House press sec Karine JeanPierre, KGP would call her, has left the Democratic Party and is now an independent, according to a press release announcing her new book, Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party lines. I threw up in my mouth a little bit. The release from Legacy Lit, an imprint of the Hatchet Book Group, and JeanPierre has chosen to look beyond party lines and is embracing life as an independent, a decision it indicated she did not come to lightly. JeanPierre, who served in the Biden administration, is somewhat vague about why she no longer identifies as a Democrat, writing that she feels the current political moment necessitates freeing ourselves of boxes. What does it mean that someone like her is independent? Honest question. I think Democrats don't have policies. They don't have a plan. And so what we're really saying here is putting Democrat in front of your name does nothing other than confuse people and associates you with losers. So for all I know, Karine JeanPierre could be far left. She could be progressive. And the reason why she's saying, I'm an independent, is because she feels like the Democrats aren't strong enough on Israel. Maybe it's because she only painfully endorsed the establishment Democrat ideas, and she's always actually been a bit of a moderate. Honestly, I have no idea. I think the reality is just that the Democratic Party is a terrible brand, which is just bad for anybody to be associated with. Quote, until January 20th, I was responsible for speaking on behalf of the President of the United States, JeanPierre said in a statement on Wednesday. At noon on that day, I became a private citizen who, like all Americans and many of our allies around the world, had to contend with what was to come next for our country. JeanPierre became White House press sec on May 13th, 2022, after Jen Psaki left the role. And she served in that role through the end of former President Joe Biden's term, also becoming senior advisor to the president. She was the first black woman and openly gay person in the position, and she worked in positions under former President Barack Obama and Vice President Kamala Harris as well. Her departure from the Democratic Party comes as the party looks to regain momentum following 2024 election losses, which I think it's getting bad for them. Trump's approval rating is up. The ratings for these shows is way down. Quote, I determined that the danger we face as a country requires freeing ourselves of boxes, she said in the release. We need to be willing to exercise the ability to think creatively and plan strategically. We need to be clear-eyed about questioning rather than blindly loyal and obedient as we may have been in the past. Freeing ourselves of boxes is truly at the heart and soul of my new book, Independent, she added. So perhaps she's doing this as a publicity stunt to sell books. Well, I'll tell you what. They have come for her knives out. How dare you? She's become an apostate. Biden world goes scorched earth on Karine JeanPierre. Heavens me. Written by everyone's favorite Alex Thompson, who was stricken blind, deaf, and dumb during the Biden years and had no idea that Biden's brain wasn't working. Former Biden press secretary Karine JeanPierre announced Tuesday that she's written a book about a broken Biden White House and what she sees as the betrayal of the former president by the Democratic Party. Really? Many of her former colleagues think JeanPierre, the face of the White House for more than 2 years, was part of the problem. Yes, she was one of the worst press secretaries. Look, I thought Jen Psaki did a good job. Like, I've maintained this. I challenge you. Go look at any of my other posts, my videos from back then, and I said, listen, Jen Psaki gives quick answers, and she spins. That's what she should be doing. Karine JeanPierre was miserably bad at the job. Driving the news, JeanPierre's announcement Wednesday led former Biden aides to tee off on her. Many quietly had fumed for years, believing she was incompetent at her job at the White House podium and more interested in promoting herself than Joe Biden. News of her book, Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party lines, and that she was leaving the Democratic Party and that she was the final straw for many people who'd worked with her. The fighting within the Biden world is a part of a larger post-election angst and grievances amid new reporting of how Biden's staff tried to hide his physical and mental decline during his presidency. JeanPierre was a key part of the effort to conceal Biden's decline, vouching for his fitness and insisting the president, then 81, was as sharp as ever, even after last June's disastrous debate against Donald Trump. One former White House official who worked closely with JeanPierre told Axios that she was one of the most ineffectual and unprepared people I've ever worked with. She had meltdowns after any interview that asked about a topic not sent over by producers. She didn't know how to manage a team, didn't know how to shape or deliver a message, and often created more problems than she solved. Wow. They really are just going after her on this stuff. Pretty brutal. A former Biden communications official threw more wood on the fire. The hubris of thinking you can position yourself as an outsider when you not only have enjoyed the perks of extreme proximity to power, which bestows the name recognition needed to sell books off your name, but have actively wielded it from the biggest pulpit there is as breathtaking as it is desperate. It's difficult to see how this is anything but a bizarre cash grab. By all means, I welcome her cash grab, as it tarnishes the already tarnished Democratic Party. A former senior spokesperson in Biden's admin added, "It's hard to believe someone could look at the past year and genuinely think the party left Joe Biden. That's why I'm leaving the Democratic Party." Ugh. Okay, look, Democrats are just ripping her to shreds, but let's play ball. From Yahoo News, are you kidding me? CNN data chief stunned by Democrats polling on this key issue. Yeah, you get it. Harry Enton on CNN has become a living meme where he frequently points out that Democrats are just... And I was thinking about the other day. I'm like, I think we won. I mean, maybe one's not that answer, but man, have we as the moderate rational types in this country, be it a conservative, a moderate, post-liberal, disaffected liberal, whatever you call yourselves, we've certainly routed the Democrats, the woke, the liberal base. They've got nothing anymore. Their support is collapsing. Their party offers nothing other than we hate Trump, but Trump's popularity is improving. The reason why I think it's obvious that Democrats are sinking is because Trump's popularity is improving. There's a direct correlation. Now, perhaps Trump's popularity is improving because people are waking up to the news. They're reading about what's going on and they're saying, hey, Trump actually ain't all that wrong about this. And if he's not wrong and I don't hate him, then what are the Democrats offering me? They just hate Trump. Okay? Well, I don't. So what are you offering me? Nothing. I had the privilege to sit down with Bill Maher a couple weeks ago, and I said Democrats have no policies, to which Bill said that they do, one of which is accepting election defeats. And I was like, they've rejected every election my whole life. And he said, no, it's Republicans. I pointed out Al Gore. His response, well, that wasn't Al. That was the Democrats. And I'm like, either way, look, man, I grew up in a world where Democrats won't shut up when they lose elections. But that's besides the point. That's not a policy. That's just the way people behave. And you can say that's Trump. Certainly it's not all Republicans. The fact is, tell me what Democrats are doing for me. Whole lot of nothing. Now, right now, when we slide over to our friends at YouGov, Trump's rising popularity, the budget, 2026 midterms, Democrats leader, policing, and Musk, May 30th to June 2nd. They say, this week's Economist YouGov poll covers the continuing slow recovery in Trump's job approval, expectations for the biggest winners and losers of the Trump budget, an early look at the 26 midterms, the extent of acceptance of governments, blah, 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 blah. All right, where are we at? What do you got? Approval and disapproval of Trump's job performance. Hey, look at this. Over the last couple of months, since mid-March, it started to decline. Yeah, likely the tariffs. But it's been slowly increasing. Strongly or some would approve, 45%. Hey, that ain't bad. It's not bad. His disapproval is at 49, according to YouGov. And I say, okay. He had brief moments where he was above water to YouGov. Now, all that matters is the trending. YouGov is going to use the same kind of polling methods that they always do. So as much as I'm a big fan of aggregate polling, I got to stress, you've got to take it. You've got to look at each individual polls and see how they're trending. Take a look at this from Real Clear Politics. Well, Real Clear Polling, to be fair. Trump's RCP average right now is minus 2.5. Okay. What does that tell us? Literally nothing. I ain't kidding. When you actually look at the breakdown in polls to figure out why Trump is at minus 2.5, you find none of the polls make any sense. Here's one of my favorites. Reuters Ipsos, minus 10 from May 16th to the 18th. But hold on. Insider Advantage from the 17th to the 19th with an overlap is plus 11. If we're to believe those polls, that would mean something happened on the 17th with overlap where they were tied. And then by the 19th, a 21-point swing in favor of Trump. Or I'm going to go ahead and say nobody has any idea what's going on. Thank you and have a nice day. Trafalgar Group has Trump up 8. But then Economist YouGov for the same time period has him at minus 5. How is that swing possible? It's not. So when they say to me, this many people like or don't like Trump, I'm like, nah, you're wrong. What I can track and what is fair to assess, the trending up or downwards, which is trackable with each individual poll, which they kind of don't show, but well, you can take a look at here in the aggregate. What do we end up seeing? All the polls use a similar methodology, even the ones that say Trump is minus 13, this Yahoo News poll. Rasmussen, for instance, has Trump up 3 points, and they use a similar method and polling pool. This means that if tomorrow Rasmussen has him at minus 3, we can say that they've tracked in their cohort a downward trend. When Trump enacted the tariffs, or when he announced the tariffs, there was a marked decline in his approval rating among every group. Even Rasmussen was reporting this. And so what I was telling people was we don't know Trump's exact approval in aggregate. We don't know the average because these make literally no sense. How Insider Advantage has him up 11 points. And then literally over the same time period, Daily Kos, Civics, which Daily Kos, of course, is far left, has a minus 5. Well, it just makes no sense. So how are you supposed to actually know? All we can really tell right now is when Trump does something good or bad that people like or don't like. What I can say is Democrats ain't doing too well. Newsweek reports Donald Trump eliminates Democrats' polling advantage in key area. I love the vagaries they use for their headlines. Clickbait. They say for decades, Democrats were widely regarded as the party of the middle class. In 1989, they held a dominant 23-point advantage over Republicans on the question of which party best represented middle class interests, according to polling from NBC, CNBC. But since then, the Democrats' lead among the demographic has started to crumble, falling to plus 17 in 26 and then plus 4 in 2022. And today, my friends, it's tied. Yeah. They're tied now. Nobody knows for sure, but I think it's pretty obvious. The younger generation sees the Republican Party as the party of the working class. You know, let me just do this. Democrats, party of the rich. I love this article. You know, because it's just Vox.com. Democrats are replaced. This is from 2016. This is 10 years ago. Okay, 9 years ago, but now we're nitpicking. Democrats are replacing Republicans as the preferred party of the very wealthy. Okay, forgive me, but it's almost exactly 9 years ago. Look at that Hillary Clinton face. That's right. And this was just before Donald Trump won. A few months before. Pretty wild to think it's been that long, hasn't it? 9 years. Man, empires rise and fall in short amounts of time. In 2012, something unusual happened. The wealthiest 4% of voting-aged Americans, by a narrow plurality, supported a Democrat for president. This hasn't happened since 1964. Before that, it hasn't happened since possibly the 1880s. So was 2012 a blip like 1964, or was 2012 the start of a phase shift? Indeed, my friends, the data has tracked swimmingly. And here we are once again looking at data that shows Democrats just plumb don't like you. They like the rich people. Here's my favorite from The Nation. The Democrats' class trip to nowhere. A sparsely attended forum about the working class held at a $40 million think tank. Yep, sounds about right. From Chris Lehman at The Nation. Ah, yes, the progressives over The Nation. There was much that felt off-kilter and disorienting in the Wednesday gathering that marked the latest effort by the Center for American Progress Action Fund to reckon with the vexed question of the Democratic Party's future. To begin with, consider the title of the forum, representing working-class voters. The phrasing here suggests the class agenda before the Democrats is a fairly straightforward matter of improving services for an already bought-in constituency, when in reality the party has been hemorrhaging support from working-class supporters to an alarming degree. I'll give them that. I love this. They go on to say blah, you know, $40 million in revenue. What are they doing? My friends, this is just one of the many ridiculous projects Democrats have to try and muster up some kind of support. You know what really irks me, though, right now is I don't think anybody cares. You know, it feels important to talk about. I'll lay it out. We'll go behind the scenes, Tim Pool script writing, production, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking at the news, and I see a story about Sasquatch. And it's clearly a fake video. We did talk about it on Timcast IRL. Why? Because it's infinitely more interesting than telling everybody what everyone already knows. The Democrats are a bunch of cringe losers that nobody wants to be associated with. And so I'm looking at the story, and I'm like, well, you know, Karine JeanPierre did leave, and like, it's political, I guess, what I should talk about. I suppose I could say Trump is winning, but the people who expect Trump to win are not focused on this stuff. So what is the value proposition of the Tim Pool Daily News Show for all of you? Part of me says we always need to be tackling the political issue of the day. The other part of me is like, y'all probably would care more if I talked about aliens and time travel at this point, because we know. We know. I don't need to go on another half an hour treatise over the failings of the Democratic Party and how they're miserable. We get it. And so I'm kind of bored. You know what I mean? At the same time, there's only so much to talk about with Trump because it's early and we're trying to see what's going to happen. What I will say, though, is, okay, fine. Maybe it's boring to say for the 800th time that Democrats are spiraling out of control if we don't remain vigilant. However, what ends up happening? They win the midterms. So we'll just keep it up. We'll keep it up, and we'll keep hammering this story to make sure we have an idea of what's going on in the meantime, lest they do some weird stuff and we miss it. So that's why I think it's worth talking about. Democrats have these events. The videos are going viral because nobody shows up. They got Project Sam, Project Searchlight, Project Wildflower. I am not kidding. They actually have these 3 projects they're spending tens of millions of dollars on, going like, why can't we attract people? Where's the liberal Joe Rogan? Oh, boy. Oh, let's go. I love ragging on David PacMan. It's too easy, David. Let me scroll down on his YouTube channel and show you one of his major successes in the last week. Where's his? I hope he deleted it. No, wait, that's 2 weeks ago. I went too far. Where is it? Oh, did he get rid of it? Oh, nope, there it is. I'm preparing to leave the country. 1.5 million views. Oh, boy. I bet he made like $10,000 off that video. For real. It's just him. I bet the video is him being like, me and my wife are going on vacation. But you know why people are watching it. Look at this one. Completely disoriented Trump, visibly confused. That's not even news. It's like not even telling people a thing that's happening. This is the current state of their liberal Joe Rogans. Yo, who's he preaching to? Nothing is being learned. To be fair, this may actually be the path that we go in media. Milo Yiannopoulos had a great tweet. I got to pull this one up. Shout out to Milo. He was supposed to, what's going on, Milo? Huh? You call in saying you want to come on the show and then you just don't show up. And Milo hit us up at the last minute asking if we had any openings. We were like, yeah, come on down. And he just never came. So we're always interested in having Milo. Let me see if I can pull up this tweet. He's got a bunch of really great tweets. I got to show you this one. He tweeted, in practical terms, claims about the economy and the federal government are now adjacent to fairy stories and horoscopes. I don't mind other people discussing them or daydreaming about them. I choose not to. He's right. He's right. I think this is where we're going. Right now, Trump's like, we got to pass the big, beautiful bill. And it's just like, I don't care. Yes. Okay. Whatever. I want Trump to win. I mean, if you were to talk to me, I'm going to break it down and give you some logical reasons. I don't know everything that's in it. I know there's bloat in it. There's arguments over whether it'll increase the deficit, while others argue it will not. Some are saying it's going to increase the trade deficit, or I'm sorry, not the budget deficit by 2.5 trillion. But others then say you're not factoring in the fact that we're overspending in other areas, and by securing the border and deportations, that's going to reduce the overspending because other areas will not be wasting that money. Nobody knows. So what do we get? I mean, are we really going to sit here and I'm going to pull up a chair adorned in velvet, smoking a corncob pipe to discuss the latest shortcomings of the Federal Reserve and the interest rates, whether they should go up or down? And then most people are going to be like, honestly, I don't know what it means when interest rates go up or down. Yeah. So then in reality, what are we left with? Most people don't know. That's why when liberals look for their Joe Rogan, they're going to pick someone like David PacMan. And he's going to be like, the key is take a screenshot of Trump, right? Trump is lame. You know, like Trump looks crazy. Trump has stroke. He literally has a video where it's like Trump press secretary has stroke on TV and it's got 500,000 views. And a dude's getting paid, but it's no surprise you're not winning elections. Or actually, I take that back. Maybe that actually would help them. I don't know. Maybe that's their mistake. Instead of actually trying to give fact points, which are it's more like sophistry, maybe they should just be like, Trump is dumb. And then people are going to go, yeah, and they're going to vote. Well, my friends, centrist Democrats are convinced they hold the answers to their party's problems. At a conference put on by the centrist Welcome Pack, Democrats settled on strategy of taking fewer risks. What are they doing? Is this Project Searchlight or some stupid garbage? Oh, man. Democrats are still staring down bleak polling numbers about their party's brand, even as President Donald Trump's favorability has also dropped. The answer to Democrats' troubles at Welcome Fest, the moderate... Are you kidding? They got another one of these? Purity tests are toxic. Being unpopular on social media site Blue Sky is cool. And winning again means running to the center. Okay. I'm not interested. Y'all are crackpot lunatics. And you deserve the party you have. All right? I'll just tell you guys, try being authentic. Try saying things that people can plainly see. For me, there are a lot of people who are like, Tim, I disagree with you on your opinion on this matter, but that's true. That did happen. And so, like, let's talk about, like, the Glenn Greenwald thing, right? You know, these weird videos leak of him doing God knows what. Weird videos. And Matt Walsh is saying, like, it's degenerate, it's immoral, he shouldn't have kids. People are then coming out to defend Glenn Greenwald, and my response is, his journalism and his debauchery are two different things. You're allowed to criticize the debauchery. You're allowed to praise the journalism. Next question. You want to overlap the two? We can talk about that. Some people had concerns about whether he was doing drugs. The Democrats just play this game of party purity. And then when they try to act like they're defying party purity, what do? They just start swearing at people. These people wouldn't know authentic if it smacked them in the butt. Well, I wish them the worst of luck. I don't like these people. And if there ever is a new Democratic Party, it's going to rely on, I don't know, some kind of insurgent takeover. Even Bernie Sanders was too disingenuous. So we'll see. But my friends, we do have an interview coming up where I will be discussing this with Rich Lowry. So smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know. That interview will be up at 4 p.m. at rumble.com/TimPool or youtube.com/Timcast. These are different channels. And I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see y'all then.